It needs a tidy up. It does. It's been obviously neglected. It looks like there's not been anyone inside of it for a while, and the garden's a mess. The garden is horrible. It looks like a bloody jungle. But what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Warren. I am a banker here in London and a property investor across the UK. My goal is to live free and independently from property, so I'm looking for an income of £3,000 per month from property in the next 5 years. If that's your goal too, if you want to live free and independently, subscribe. That is what my content is all about. So guys, we're back on another property viewing. We are in Derby once again. I'm looking at another auction property that I'm looking to do the BRRR strategy with. I'm going to take you with me and show you everything I saw on the viewing and my thoughts. Let's just get straight into it. So I've just arrived here for the viewing, and a lot like the other place, this is a real heavily student area. So I think if I was to buy here, it's going to be mostly students who would live here. So in terms of tenancies, you're looking at, tenancies during term time specifically. I don't think a lot of local residents would actually be living here on this street, but yeah, we'll see what the viewing is saying. If you look here and down the street, so many student for let signs, so you're not going to be letting to regular residential tenants. This is basically a student area. Okay, so as usual, I like to start off with the outside of the property. Double glazed windows, that's a really good sign. Keep those. Straight inside.
I've been off for the last week, but before I went off,
I'm just letting you listen to this conversation with the agent I had. Always useful to ask about the interest to give you an indication of whether you're going to get a lot of bids on it. So yeah, back to brick on the inside. Interesting. I like that feature. Old carpets, those will come off. New radiator, which was good. I'd strip all of the walls, just paint those. A lot of furniture in the living room. Replace the lights. Yeah, again, really aged property. I think maybe this is a deceased estate, or yeah, it looks like a deceased estate because it's just proper old school. New kitchen throughout.
That looks centuries old.
And replace everything in here, guys.
Walls look okay.
Taps are working. That's good. No leaks underneath, so the piping's good. But yeah, look at the state of that sink. Now, guys, brace yourselves for what you're gonna see outside. Look at this garden, or should I say jungle? It is insane. I don't know what's lurking in the back there. Could be lions, tigers, pythons. By the way, guys, if you're finding this video useful, share it with somebody else that you think would. Like and subscribe for the algorithm. And now let's get back into the video. That's going to need just to clear out. Nothing too onerous. That can be cleared out in a day or so, but a lot of overgrowth. Structurally, no cracks in the brickwork outside, so structurally it looks quite sound. Guttering looks good. Those look like new drainage pipes, so that's good, really good. And they're double glazed windows on the outside, so keep those for sure.
Double glazed.
That's really good, because windows are expensive to replace, guys. Trying to work out the door lock there. There you go. And then going upstairs again, I would replace all of this carpeting on the stairs. The boards are a bit creaky, so we'd have to check those to see if any floorboards need replacing. Again, lots of furniture up here, and it's quite old furniture, old school. So I think this is a deceased estate property, to be honest, guys. Double glazed windows, which is good. Would yeah, take all of this. I don't know what kind of velvety touch to the walls, which was weird. So I'd take that all off, and I'd replace the carpet. So taking the carpet up, I like to do this, guys, just to see what's underneath.
if there's, you know, you never know what's underneath a carpet, but looked okay underneath. Floorboards look fairly solid. Then going into the bathroom, yeah, we'll just replace a whole new bathroom suite in there. Let's take a look at the boiler. Today's video is brought to you by Invest Engine. Guys, I love property. That is my main focus, what I like to do, but I don't just focus on property. I like to diversify my investments outside of that to spread my risk, and I also invest in the stock market. The property and the stock market are 2 out of the 4 biggest sources of wealth in the UK. An app that I personally use to invest in the stock market in index funds is called Invest Engine. Reason why I love Invest Engine is because you can create an account and start investing in a few minutes from your phone. There's no fees involved, and your money is protected by the Financial Services Compensation Scheme up to £85,000. This app makes it simple and accessible to invest in the stock market, especially if you're a novice. I personally have a direct debit each month and it goes straight into a global index fund every month. I don't even have to think about it. It's all automated and it does it for me. And guys, if you sign up and invest at least £100 with Invest Engine, you get a £25 bonus if you go through the link in the description below. So guys, sign up today and diversify your investments. And now back to the video. Yeah, nice new modern boiler, so that's a good sign, because these are expensive to replace. That's really good. Yeah, we'd take off, you know, we'd replace it all. We'd replace the walls with tiles probably, or cladding. This is the other bedroom. Again, nice double glazed window. There's not a lot to do in this video, to be honest, in this room, guys. It's just new flooring, new walls. That's about it. There's a new radiator there, which is good. So yeah, I mean, it looks dated. It looks worse than it is, I'd say, guys. And back downstairs. Creaky floorboards there. Some tiled flooring in the, I think that's the living room again. I'd take that off, obviously, and put a carpet down.
Let's talk about this one. It needs a tidy up. It does. It's been obviously neglected. It looks like there's not been anyone inside of it for a while. Some of the pros of this property, you know, it doesn't look like, I'm not a surveyor, but it doesn't look like there's any structural issues with it. It just looks like it just needs a tarting up. So it needs painting and decorating. It needs new flooring. It needs walls redone and plastered. It needs a new kitchen and bathroom. And the garden's a mess. The garden is horrible. It looks like a bloody jungle, but you know, that's all stuff that can be done relatively easily. I asked the agent what types of people would rent around this area. My initial impression walking around that is just students, but this is why it's always worth talking to agents and asking them these questions, because they know better than we do, right? We can make judgments based on what we see, but they know the ins and outs and the real detail in terms of the area. They have that local knowledge. He said that yes, there are agents, but there's also locals, and also there's a hospital nearby, which was, you know, really promising to see, because when you got a hospital nearby, usually that is like constant demand for your property, and I'd much rather have either locals or hospital workers as opposed to students. Nothing against students, but it's the gaps in the that really eat into your profits when it comes to renting to students. So if I was to get this property, I would specifically ask the letting agent to target locals and hospital staff as opposed to students. But yeah, I mean, properties like this are interesting because to the untrained eye, to most people going in and seeing that, they'll be scared of that. They'll be put off by what they see. But as someone who's going to viewings, I've shadowed people who actually do refurbs like this. I know that it looks horrible from the outside, but in practice, it's not an impossible task. I mean, this is bread and butter for most tradesmen. It's not nothing too onerous, too substantial. So we'll see where we get to. Follow my journey. But I'd be keen to bid on this one actually, guys. So stay tuned to see what happens. And I'm just having a drive around the surrounding streets to have a look at what's surrounding the area. Would I want to live here if I was renting? And I like amenities, so I'm just having a look at what's here. You can see a cafe here, you've got a takeaway here, a fish bar, you've got a wine shop, or a medicine shop as I like to call it, on the right. Got a coffee bar on the right, a co-op, supermarket on the left. A lot of good stuff that you would need, that people need nearby, where you live. You want to have good access, relatively close to good amenities, and there's some shops further at the end of the road also. So what I haven't mentioned yet is that even though I am viewing properties in Derby, I wanted to have a look at Nottingham. So I'm not actually buying in Nottingham yet, but it's an area, a city that I'm really interested in. Why? Because it's similar to Liverpool in that I think that it's really underpriced right now, yet it's still growing impressively. So Liverpool is very similar, Sheffield is very similar, Leeds is quite similar, but out of all of those three, it's Liverpool and Nottingham that I think are the most underpriced, and so there's a lot of value to be had by buying in Nottingham, in my opinion. Here's Nottingham Station on the left, so we're right in the centre of town. Nottingham's very different to like Stoke, for example, or Stockton-on-Tees, where I've been, two cities where I've been in the last 2 months. Both, northern cities, fairly close to Nottingham, but very different in that they use the two cities, Stockton-on-Tees and Stoke, are two cities where they used to have like heavy manufacturing industries. Stoke had a big pottery and ceramics industry. Stockton-on-Tees, I don't know the specific trade that the city was famous for, but it was manufacturing based. Those are two cities that have really struggled economically, since their main industries declined, and there's a lot more poverty in those cities as opposed to here in Nottingham. I mean, like right now we're driving through a tram line. The infrastructure of cities like Nottingham, like Liverpool, is being built up, it's being developed, it's being taken forwards, and with that comes a lot of opportunity with regard to property. You've got rising house prices in line with that as the city becomes more connected and more developed. You're not going to see brand new tram lines, you're not going to see a lot of businesses. You just saw Experian on the right, and I drove past the HM Land Registry about 5-10 minutes ago. A lot of head offices, businesses located in a city like Nottingham. Not so much so in places like Stockton-on-Tees and Stoke-on-Trent, and that's why house prices are so cheap, because generally speaking the economy there is struggling, and there's not a whole load of opportunities, economically speaking, for people. And that's why you'll see one beds in Stockton-on-Tees and Stoke-on-Trent for 60 grand, 50 grand, 70 grand, those type of price points. Now the great thing about Nottingham though is that even though there's so much more going on here, property prices are still low, relatively speaking. I think they're cheap right now. You can still get one beds in Nottingham for like 80,000-90,000 pounds. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, and that's why I decided to stay here and just have a look at what's going on in this city. So guys, that was my second viewing in Derby, looking at another auction property. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about